Where's the door to the horse? Is it in the butt?
In its belly.
Oh.
In the belly, yeah.
You gotta go butthole.
So in non-COVID times, in England, do people over the age of 70 rave? That's all I know.
How does one rave?
I will have one rave, please.
I'm sorry, I wasn't. Yeah, I've opted out.
The capital of pranks, where
Sort of a meta prank to ignore prank day, though.
oh, that's true. A prank within a prank. Prankception.
This is the Inception episode.
Prankception. There it
Episode
is.
title.
Commonwealth, the former empire, now Commonwealth. Is it relevant? Probably not. But why not give this part a shot? Stay tuned. Here comes Uncommonwealth, the podcast.
And we are live! The most enthusiastic I've ever been because it's Monday. Wait, shit. It's not going to come out on a Monday.
I love when you try to riff.
Goes great. We're live and we're really excited to have you here to learn about random things. We're going to talk about pranks this week. If any of us are doing an on-theme segment as we're supposed to.
But there's a theme?
Yeah.
Piers, did you not do the theme? Then your segments won't be stolen if you didn't go on theme, so that's a plus.
That's why
that was probably
worried.
deliberate on his part.
Yeah. Are you on theme, Adam? I'm on theme. I think
I'm on theme,
I'm on
baby.
theme.
Was I around for the theme discussion? Was that?
Oh no.
Yes.
There was. You could call this a prank. We're going with prank. This is a prank.
you could. The term is very loosely applied.
Prank. The police in Essex, which is a very lively part of England, made a mistake recently when they turned out to what they thought was an illegal rave, but was actually old age pensioners, so geriatrics queuing up to get their COVID-19 vaccine.
Oh my God.
Why did they think it was a rave though?
Well, so a bunch of people saw a large group of, elderly people standing outside a Freemasons hall where they usually have concerts when COVID's not happening. So they called it in and the police showed up to arrest everybody for, breaking COVID protocols. And it turned out that everyone was, over the age of 70 trying to get their COVID vaccine.
So in non-COVID times, do people over the age of 70 rave?
No.
That's a good point. You haven't actually established they weren't raving. Maybe both things are true.
But they turned up to find wheelchairs, Zimmer frames, walking sticks, and a bunch of
if it had been called in as like an illegal bingo tournament, that might have been more appropriate.
That's great. Imagine that police officer. He's like, yeah, this the tip that we received on the tip line may have slightly oversold this.
Probably a prank played by some youths.
Once they get their vaccines, they will be able to attend raves, though. That's why we're all getting vaccinated, right? So we can go.
Yes.
How do raves? What are raves?
I don't know.
That's all I know.
How does one rave?
I will have one rave, please.
You have to Google what's a rave. I don't think.
I think we can all safely decide whether Katherine has or has not ever attended a rave in her life.
I don't think we're getting invited to the rave.
Well, we're too young for this rave.
Yeah, that's true.
It is something interesting that someone just sees a crowd and assume, and like in the current environment, you see a crowd of people and you assume something nefarious is going on.
Yeah.
100%.
You just make the call. You don't even stop to be like,
phone it in, see something, say something.
I wonder why they thought rave though, because they must have had to have been a fair distance away, because you're not going to be half a block away, see a bunch of people with walking sticks and think, that's a rave about to go down.
Yeah.
Another great prank, which I prepared for prank day. A bunch of British school kids were, every year they give the new students laptops at this school, and they were found that they came fully loaded with Russian malware.
Oh, wow.
So that when all these kids logged on for their first day of school, apparently the computers were sort of sending all of their information back to some Russian bot farm or whatever who was monitoring their what Peppa Pig, whatever it is.
What's a Peppa Pig?
It's the famous children's cartoon now.
Oh, that must be what they do at all these raves.
Catherine should know.
I'm sorry.
I've never heard of that.
Anyway, another great prank by the Russians.
Classic prank right there.
We moved to Toronto, Ontario, where the man who's nicknamed Ontario Trump, Rob Ford, has promised to drive a frozen truck, well, not a frozen truck, what they call a refrigerator truck, to Kalamazoo, Michigan himself to pick up more vaccines for his constituents. So this is
probably not allowed to drive.
Oh.
This is leading by example. That's a good point.
You heard of Rob Ford, right? The guy that was mocked on SNL.
No,
the big fat mayor of Toronto that became the laughing stock of the world.
Oh, I have been reading.
It was Trump pre-Trump.
But
Ontario's Trump is a bad nickname, though. It doesn't. Like,
they caught him doing crack, and he was way more.
Wait, really?
He died, and then he died.
And he danced in
wow.
Parliament, whatever.
How have we not done a segment on this fellow?
Well, he's not a prime minister, and
okay.
It's not prime mayors, Jimmy. It's some prime ministers.
I feel like you could like blur the lines for 1 week, Katherine. And
so Doug Ford's gonna go drive. So Doug Ford is Rob Ford's brother, obviously, or no, maybe not, obviously. And
actually, he's Henry Ford's son. Now that's a Ford that I have heard of. So.
There you go.
Give him a quick Google, Jimmy, and you'll know everything you need to know about him just by how he looks, because that's how we judge people. He looks like, as my Jimmy accurately said, a bouncer. But he's quite popular in Ontario. Because anyway,
he tells it like it is. Is he?
Yeah, that's what people say.
Right.
He tells it like it is. And
Piers, have we hijacked your segment sufficiently? You disappeared.
Pierce is busy Googling pranks for his prank segment.
Yeah,
he pulled 3 pranks out of nowhere. Perfect timing. I love it. Pierce,
so back to you guys with your one prank.
Uncommonwealth.
The prank that I want to share with you guys is from a group of Australian comedians called The Chasers. And I've brought them up on the pod before. They used to have a show that was on the TV. They did a satirical newspaper. The prank that I'd previously spoken about was the one when they went and gave the Prime Minister a hug whilst they were holding a giant spear. So as part of their show, they would do news parodies. They would make fun of headlines. They would do pranks, usually based on things that were happening in the news. So they've got a bunch of pranks, but a couple of my favorites. One of them was after the Prime Minister at the time made some comment about, you need to remember the lessons that we learned from history. They did a prank where the story of the wooden horse that the Greeks gave Troy, that obviously led to the downfall.
The Trojan
horse. Yeah. Greek soldiers in this giant wooden horse. So they went around to just a bunch of places in Australia with a gigantic wooden horse on the back of a car. And they tried to take it in. So they went to the Channel 9 news studio, equivalent of a cable network. And they just rocked up at the security entrance. And the security guard's like, oh, fucking hell, I wish they'd tell us when people were going to turn up with things like this. So they got in with that. They went to the army headquarters. They got through the front gates of the army headquarters. And then a bunch of soldiers burst out. So that one was pretty hilarious.
Actually had soldiers in their horse.
It was the other comedians. It was
it's kind of funny, but
yeah.
If we wanted to, as 4 comics, we could also do something like that just for fun.
Yeah. Why we never prank enough, guys.
We don't spend enough time inside wooden horses, if you ask me.
Where's the door to the horse? Is it in the butt?
In its belly. In the belly. Yeah.
You gotta go butthole.
It was a missed opportunity. That is true.
Yeah. And they call themselves comedians.
Exactly. Another prank they did was at the Logies, which is basically the TV award show for Australian TV. One of the guys, he was going to try and basically photobomb as many moments as he could during the live broadcast. So when it was the nominations, he would just go and hide behind the close-up of the people's face on the red carpet. When people were being interviewed, he would be behind them in the background dancing and doing silly things. The crescendo was when it was the group for the most outstanding work in children's drama, whatever one. It was, a group of 8 people that were walking up on stage, and he kind of just merged in with the group and went on stage with them. So during the acceptance speech, he's just standing behind them in this group. And then throughout the speech, someone realized, they kind of point it out, and some people in the group laugh, others reporters are like annoyed that some random is standing there as they get the speech and they kind of punt him off.
That sounds like one of these classic pranks, but these pranks where they have these elaborate things like I'm going to get the president on the telephone or I'm going to go do, and there's no plan for what happens if it works.
Adam, funnily enough that you say that, the final prank from these guys, and this one was pretty insane, is that during the APEC summit in 2007, which that's the Asia Pacific Economic Conference or Corporation or something. It was a group of like 21 countries. So the world leaders of 21 countries, it was in Sydney, Australia. So this included Bush. President Bush was there. They'd shut down a couple of blocks in inner city Sydney, and they had a fake motorcade. So they had a couple of like black SUVs. They had people on bicycles. They had security guards like dressed in suits jogging alongside. And the prank was they had someone dressed as Osama bin Laden in the security motorcade. And the prank was that they were clearly going to get stopped at the security checkpoint, and then he was going to get out and pretend to be Osama bin Laden,
and they got shot
that he wasn't allowed in. But they got through.
Certainly deserved.
This would never work in the US. You would get shot.
Oh my gosh. So but this is what happened, Adam. They got through the security checkpoint. They got to the first one, and all the guards there just waved them through, and they didn't know what to do. So the lawyers of the show had approved the prank on the assumption that there was no way they would make it through these security checkpoints, but they ended up going through the first zone. And then the plan was always, if they got to the second checkpoint, like the red zone, which is where there are, snipers on the roof of everything, if they got through that, they wouldn't even try. But no one ever told them when they reached that point. They just kept getting waved through, and people are jogging alongside, and they were like, what the hell do we do now? So they eventually tried to turn around, and the guys of Osama bin Laden got out to kind of, pull the ripcord, and police converged on them, but it was super controversial. It was a bit, they all got charged as well, but they ended up getting off the charges.
What a breach of security. It just shows how bad the security was.
Right. And
it was like that guy that jumped the fence of the White House. He got inside and had no idea what to do with himself.
Yeah.
What do I do now? Well, that's what they said. That one of the main guys was on the radio, obviously a lot of coverage, and he was being interviewed, and he was kind of like, we had prepared for literally everything happening other than it succeeding. They got let off all the charges because they were like, it was the police that just let us through.
The podcast.
Wait, what was the theme again? Pranks. Oh yeah, pranks. So prank day is not a day to avoid everyone's favorite segment.
You gotta be
kidding me. You gotta
be kidding me.
Pictures in a lie. April Fool's Day theme.
Okay.
The ultimate
No.
prank theme. As always, let me get through all three, and then you tell me which two are true and which is a lie. Okay. In the city of Odessa in the Ukraine, April Fool's Day is a public holiday. Fact 2, the BBC once ran an April Fool's news story about the spaghetti harvest in Switzerland. Fact 3, in 1996, Taco Bell ran a newspaper ad saying that they had purchased the Liberty Bell and are renaming it the Taco Liberty Bell.
The first one is a lie, and the second two are true because I did research for this prank and came across the two.
Oh boy!
The Liberty Bell and the spaghetti tree both happened for sure. I'm not sure. I don't know about the dates, but they definitely both happened.
Catherine,
I'm gonna have to go with Katherine here. I think.
Piers, hold on a minute. My knee-jerk reaction was to go with Katherine due to the overwhelming confidence she is displaying. But we have been burned in the past.
It is in that overwhelming confidence that we should find fault.
The one time I know, Piers, that might be my husband's favorite thing you've ever said. Okay, just right now. No,
I agree with Katherine. I had heard about the Taco Bell thing.
I smell gelato.
I had no idea about the spaghetti thing. That sounds pretty. I'd like to hear more about that.
Yeah.
Are you ready for the big reveal? Oh, but it's not anticlimactic. You're wrong. Wait, the first one is also true.
Well, I just didn't know if it was. I hate you, Adam.
Oh, that was fun. Okay.
God, I hate you.
Round two.
Katherine, even when we've specifically researched, when he's given us the questions ahead of time, we still get them wrong.
Okay. Round 2. Fact 1. One of the highest revenue days of the year for tattoo parlors is April 1st. Fact 2. Greta Thunberg's climate change activism started as an April Fool's joke, but after doing more research, she realized global warming was real. And fact 3, Queen Elizabeth...
about flat Earth.
The third one, Queen Elizabeth does not let anyone near her dogs on April 1st until afternoon. like after 12 p.m.
The Greta Thunberg thing can't be real.
No, it can't be.
I feel like Liz wouldn't let people touch her dog ever.
Near her dog.
Isn't she?
Ever.
Only one of them's alive. I think they're all dead.
April Fools.
Oh. No one wants to guess, Adam. This is what you do when you.
Wait, I actually forgot the first one. What was the
first one? Is one of the highest revenue days of the year for tattoo parlors.
That's right.
Is April 1st.
What would the logic be for that? That you do it as a joke, but that's a pretty permanent prank.
It's not like you can do that to other people.
Yeah,
like,
how are you pranking yourself?
People are weird.
They're all true.
They're all lies.
Catherine's right. They're all lies.
All lies.
What?
All right, well.
I don't even get enjoyment.
You should be happy. You got them right.
No,
okay,
I don't.
Okay, round 3.
Past that.
Round 3, and this is the last round. So then we get to move on with our lives and go to the next segment. Round 3. Fact 1. Bob Hope would never accept a cigar from someone else to smoke on April Fool's Day and kept specific cigars in a safe, specifically for April 1st. Fact 2. In 1985, Sports Illustrated ran a 14-page story about Mets pitching phenom Sidd Finch, who had 168 miles an hour fastball, which he credited to meditations in Tibet and a host of quirks, including carrying a French horn at all times and wearing only one hiking boot while pitching. And fact 3.
What the
Fact 3. Fact 3. Let me get through all 3. Fact 3. Dodger pitching legend Sandy Koufax famously refused to pitch a World Series game in 1965 because it was Yom Kippur. He also refused to pitch on April Fool's Day.
So the second one could be true because you're saying they ran it as a prank.
They ran a 14-page story about this
guy,
Sidd Finch. Great name.
So had a 168 mile an hour fastball. Did you say
fastball? Yes, which he credited to meditations in Tibet.
Yeah. Isn't the fastest someone's ever thrown?
108. It's like 106.
Yeah. It's definitely 100 and single digits. Yes.
He bench pressed 4,500 pounds.
He also carried a French horn around at all times and pitched with one hiking boot on.
That's
where did
possible.
this other hiking boot go? That would throw me off if I saw that on the mound.
What
was the first one's true?
First one was Bob Hope's cigars.
I think one truth and 2 lies in that order.
Okay, Katherine?
I think 2 truths and 1 lie in any order.
Okay. That's an interesting way to answer.
I'll just take what I can get.
You actually going with the segment name,
right?
Which has never happened.
Catherine,
I'm sorry, I wasn't. I've opted out. I'm extremely
Catherine has unsubscribed.
Conscientious objector.
Okay, the first one, the Bob Hope cigars, is a lie.
Woo!
The third one is a lie.
I'm out.
The second one is true.
They really ran that?
Yeah,
that's
Sidd
crazy.
Finch.
That's great. That's good on them. That's a good sense of humor.
I'm in a bad mood
Good
now.
little prank.
I am, guys.
Uncommonwealth.
All right, for my segment.
Okay.
I'm very competitive, and I like if I lose at like a game of pool or a casual.
Yeah,
I'm upset for hours.
Arthur's gonna have some fun playing chess with you when he's 4 years old.
Oh, he will never win.
Hungry hippo with mom. It's got pretty competitive.
In 1978, the founder of Australian Geographic, which is like National Geographic, but it's Australian.
And it's upside down.
Perfect. Better line. Thank you. Dick Smith, the guy who founded it, he was a millionaire businessman and then also scientist. He pulled an iceberg from Antarctica into Sydney Harbor. This is Australian, obviously. Oh, wait, I already said that. And wanted to give away these pieces of this iceberg as like pure. He wanted to make the water more pure. Like the Sydney Harbor was getting very dirty in the 70s. And he wanted to give away little chiseled parts of this iceberg to make and then like sell it as like the purest ice and like marketing it like that. And
that's the Australian version of Breaking Bad. That's our purest ice.
And so he had built this up for a while. And then on April 1st, he pulled this off, but as a hoax. So he had like weirdly kind of convinced, like he had legitimately talked about the fact that he would like to pull an iceberg into Sydney Harbor, like legitimately signed. But then for a number of reasons, more difficult
to do than you do. And he decided to just like fake it. And so on the morning of April 1st, 1978, he pulled a barge in, and over the course of the night, he had like 50 staff members cover this barge in like a sheet, and then firefighter, like, what do you call foam?
Oh yeah.
A firefight, like tons of it. And then by the time the sun came up, it was just sitting there in Sydney Harbor.
Wow.
And he had 300 staff members call it in and say he did it. Like, Dick Smith is like a genius. Like, he got and it's in the, like, go look at the harbor.
That's awesome.
And then it started to rain, and all the foam dissolved immediately. And it was like a revealed, but it was super successful prank. Like, people went nuts for like.
It's like the ending of a Scooby-Doo episode, and it was the janitor underneath all along. That's awesome. So he did like a full-on PR campaign saying, I'm going to pull an iceberg in, and then
he looked like an idiot, right? What was his end game? Because he can't sell foam to people. That's another one of those pranks where what do you do if it works?
What do you do now?
The point was that it was all a prank, I think.
So the prank is just to get people to believe and then to reveal that it's not.
Yeah.
Real. That's fair.
Yeah.
Imagine if you were towing an iceberg back, and then the iceberg hit a luxury cruise liner that was just docked. That would be like the total.
As long as you say prank when you reveal.
Oh, is that how it works?
That's how.
My favorite part of the story is that what he was going to sell as these ice cubes were going to be called, because his name's Dick Smith, they were going to be called Dixicles. This guy sounds awesome, to be honest. Like, he looks like Austin Powers. And he's just like the whole thing only cost him like at the time like $1,700. So he was like, look at, like, this was super, like, it was one of the more famous pranks, like
that is a good
in
prank.
the 70s. And then
Dick Smith was like a national chain of like electronic stores, like Best Buy.
Yeah.
Like a chain, and the logo was his face, and he's got his big like Austin Powers
glasses
on. Yeah. So it's just his big goofy mug on the.
If you look up pictures of him on the iceberg, like he's like, this is awesome. He's just so Australian.
I mean, it was very funny you brought this up, because like I last August or something, there's a businessman in the UAE who is planning to do this for real, not a prank.
Why are people moving icebergs around so much?
No, because it is, that's the kind of thing. It is actually a legitimate idea to freshen like harbors, and like that's why he could get away with it, because they've been trying for years to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's very expensive to transport liquids, right? So there's always been like, how do you transport? If you wanted to sell drinking water, how would you do it? And there's been like people talking about like a giant balloon that you fill with like the fresh water, and then you just like float it across the ocean to wherever it needs to go and stuff like that.
Well, no, just someone's gonna attempt it very, very soon. I'm not completely up to date on it, but it's actually Dick Smith's dream will become reality.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the issue is how much of it melts in transport.
It reminds me of that Seinfeld episode where Kramer got all the bottles and drove them to Michigan.
For the deposit?
For the deposit, yeah. That's so much fun. He really does look like the coolest guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Dick Smith?
Dick Smith, yeah.
Did you pull up a photo of him?
So he owns Smith Foods. Is that a big brand in Jimmy in Australia? Is he well known?
Yeah. He's really well known. Yeah.
Isn't it weird how like there's
he
people in Canada and Australia that in the rest of the world and Britain that you don't know about? Like
yes, it's weird. There are people in Canada that I don't know about.
Okay.
I know what you mean. Well, hey, I didn't know about that Rob, whatever his name was, the Ontario's Trump.
Oh, yeah, but that's just ignorant.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for Uncommon Takes.
All right, so it's been a little tough for me to focus today because I look really good today. Have you noticed that? You know so good I look? Okay, anyway. All right, so
was that like a bit, or you really just fishing that, Adam? You look great. Damn, I look great. You always look good, Adam.
Uncommon Takes.
That'd be a funny premise for a movie. A guy that's like his life is in shambles and he wants to commit suicide, and he decides to just like make a run into the White House or something. That's as a way to just get shot, but then he makes it.
Yeah.
And then no one notices him and he's just there. So he just starts blending in.
Just loitering. That's how he became the chief of staff.
Uncommonwealth, the podcast.